Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Tashana. Let's get into this. So, disclaimer, guys, this is a live recording. I'm a tad bit late, so I do apologize for any noise in the background, anybody coming in to cut in between the message, okay? Now, okay, first of all, I'm not gonna lie, this is the second day in a row I did not study for the periodic table, but I came across some conversations and I found out that they are actually out here selling melanin. Now, you guys may have heard of this, but if you know what I'm getting at, then you know what I'm getting at. First of all, I guess this would explain why everybody hates us, right? Literally, melanin is worth more than gold, okay? So let's take a look at some things, right? So I went to look into melanin and I came across some information. Now, as far as melanin itself, I believe we did have a little conversation. It actually is a combination of carbon. It is fixed, right? So what does that mean? There's a certain amount of parts that's required of these particular elements to allow it to be what it is, right? The same elements that we went over that are responsible for life, right, are actually inside of this. That is basically what melanin is. So I'm not understanding why I took the picture, but I can't find it. So I'll just try to look for it. But so let's start here. Gold is $61 a gram, and melanin is anywhere from $300 to $500 per gram. Okay, that's number one. Secondly, there's 3 types. Are you hearing me? There's 3 types of melanin, okay? Now, we have, we have the neuromelanin, the pheomelanin, and the eumelanin, okay? Now, what crazily shocked me and scared me is that melanin is actually a conduit for energy. It's considered the chlorophyll of the skin. So what chlorophyll is to plants is what melanin is to the human body. And a lot of people don't really know this or realize this, but all races have melanin. Do you hear me? All races have melanin. It's not just black people, right? Obviously, the darker you are, the more melanin you have. And yes, the sunlight can make the melanin darker, but it's a little more complicated and intriguing than that. First of all, this is a particular cell, right, that is comprised of multiple things that makes melanin. So these melanocytes are pretty much what's responsible for going up under the skin, and they allow the skin to have a pigment, right? Obviously, we know what's going on with the sun and why it would make sense to want to have melanin, right? So you can survive longer in this atmosphere. I have so many questions that I didn't get to actually look into, because I'm like, wait, $500 a gram for melanin? Remember, melanin is carbon, okay? Melanin is carbon. So a lot of people are thinking like melanin is, this and that. Another thing that came up. Well, at first I wanted to say, melanin is a metal or a chemical, but it actually is a chemical, And it is 18 parts carbon, 10 parts hydrogen, 2 parts nitrogen, and 4 parts oxygen. And what happens is melanin is actually able to split the ions between hydrogen particles and oxygen particles. Particles. That is water, right? So again, this is a chemical. It's not an element, but they are actually pushing to put it on the periodic table as an element. Remember, this energy can be used into free energy. So that is another thing. And it makes sense. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Remember how we talk about energy harvesting and things like that? A lot of those things take place in quote unquote the ghetto, quote unquote the hood. Okay, so if that makes sense, then we understand why it's making even more sense now. Now, this may be information that other people have been made aware of. I mean, I was a little aware of what melanin is, but I had no idea the price that had been placed on our skin. I mean, that's essentially what this is. It's our skin, and not all black people are, full of melanin. And not all white people are lacking melanin. Now, there is a such thing as lacking melanin, right? And it's called a melanism, okay? Also known as a melanosis, which is characterized by abnormality in the pigmentation. Now, this also can be considered, not whiteness, please don't. They have vitiligo. They have different types of dermatitis that lead to that are, if you will, characterized by the lack of melanin. And then you also have albinism, which is basically the same thing, right? All animals can be affected by this, and I really do believe we need to start looking into this, because this will teach us how to protect ourselves. Now, I don't want to be the one like, oh yeah, because we're special and we're special, but this would explain why, again, everybody hates us. Okay, now the purpose of this melanin is to absorb the light from the sun, right? We should be absorbing it. Again, not only black people have melanin, okay? So let's keep that in mind. Now, this melanin can be found in skin, hair, your eyes, and your blood vessels. The reason why that is important is because these are the main organs that are essential to the functioning of life, right? Your hair protects your skin. Hair protects your eyes. Hair protects your nose. It protects your ears. It protects your body from having foreign substances infiltrate, right? Then you have all these other factors that are surrounding these parts where the melanin is created. So your eyes, for example, obviously we know what the eyes are for. Without the eyes, okay, we don't have to really get into it. I just want to focus on where the melanin is found on our bodies, so we can get a better idea of how important it is, right? It's not that it's just on our skin. It's in our blood vessels, our eyes, and our hair. What else makes us so unique besides our dark skin? Our hair, okay? And they have been doing some research, and when I was talking about the splitting between the particles with the hydrogen and the oxygen, it was found to be less effective for people with melanin to develop Parkinson's disease. So this is actually where a lot of the research had begun around melanin, because obviously more people that are not black are being affected by it, right? Now, when you look at these regions where people are the darkest, you might notice some things like lower instances of HIV and higher instances of racism. Again, these areas where black people are in highest concentration are being grossly attacked and targeted. We all have our own understanding of, I'm so sorry for the noise. We all have our own understanding of what is pushing us and what is getting us through. And we may not even be able to simply just identify it, right? But when you have the ability to simply identify something and be able to look into its benefits, and it's something that you naturally have, you have to be willing to protect it, okay? Because it's not something that you go around selling. And, according to reports, they're saying that the black body can be sold for a total of up to $100 million. Okay, so this makes sense why all the shootings, are going unsolved. Nobody knows anything. This makes sense why people are dying in the hospitals and in the jails, and majority of them are black. Okay, highly melanated folks, if you will. And I think it's really important for us to start paying attention. People are going missing. People are losing their lives. And we are just casually going through the day, not even realizing that it's not even just the organs. It's the entire body. It's not just the organs. It's everything about you. Your hair. Okay, so even when you see people doing like blackface and stuff like that, I would get offended. But you know what? I would want to have this gold on my goddamn body too. I would want to be worth more than gold too. Go ahead. Go ahead. I would want to be worth more than gold also. So that's what I'm saying. We need to start figuring out what is most important to us, right? So taking care of yourself at this point in life should be key. I mean, especially after a thing like COVID, we don't have to constantly stress, but you want to start investing more into your health and diets that will help you keep your melanin, because we do start to lose our melanin around the age of 20 and 30, between 20 and 30, and then 40s and then 70s, right? So it would make sense why someone like Michael Jackson would be diagnosed with vitiligo, because of the stressful situation that he was in. And then look at around the age he had begun to lose his pigmentation in his skin. And I'm not saying that was the only thing. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a doctor. I wasn't there. So I'm not going to go into what I think or assume. But we have to look at the facts, right? Look at the age he was. Look at when it happened. Look at the circumstances surrounding just who he was as a person. And it'll start to make more sense. Obviously we know like what this is about, but this is a big deal, and it's important that we stay connected to one another, because if someone is willing to scrape your skin and sell the particles that are on your skin, your children are not safe. And this would account for the jealousy, the attacks, the melodrama. It makes sense. And maybe sometimes people want to sell themselves. Like, I don't know. But I'm just shocked that I haven't heard more about this. And obviously, this is probably something that they don't want us to know about, because we would become way more on guard. But a lot of organizations and communities are like already on this. So, yeah. Praise up to all of my black people and brown people who are highly melanated, because, again, it's not just us. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I do love y'all. We will be resuming back to the periodic table shortly. I think we have a few more things that we might need to discuss. Whatever. When it comes up, we'll get to it, right? God is like, no, girl. I said go now. But I do love y'all. I hope y'all are getting your rest. I hope y'all are eating y'all fruits and vegetables, and I hope y'all are sipping on your own tea, because it's free. And yes, them kids went back to school. Love y'all.